Hello, I'm Graham Elwood, and welcome to another edition of the Political Vigilante. Today, I want to go over an article that was in the New York Times over the past weekend. Foreign payments to Trump firms violate Constitution. This is the lawsuit that was filed this Monday, January 23rd. And here's what it's about. A team of prominent constitutional scholars, Supreme Court litigators, and former White House ethics lawyers have filed a lawsuit this past Monday morning alleging that President Trump is violating the Constitution by allowing his hotels and other business operations to accept payments from foreign governments. Remember I did that article a couple weeks ago as can Trump avoid a constitutional crisis? Looks like no. This lawsuit is among a barrage of legal actions against the Trump administration that have been initiated or are being planned by major liberal advocacy organizations. Such suits are among the few outlets they have to challenge the administration now that Republicans are in control of the government. In the new case, the lawyers argue that a provision in the Constitution known as the Emollients Clause bans payments from foreign powers like the ones to Mr. Trump's companies. The site fears among the framers of the Constitution that United States officials could be corrupted by gifts or payments. Now, come on, how could that happen? I mean, they just appointed Rex Tillerson, former CEO of ExxonMobil, that has done business with Putin. That is Russia's #1 export is oil, and now the Secretary of State is being run by a guy that ran ExxonMobil, which is the largest corporation on the face of the earth. I don't see how there could be any conflicts of business. This is the most flagrant shit I've ever seen. The suit, which will not seek any monetary damages, will ask a federal court in New York to order Mr. Trump to stop taking payments from foreign government entities. Such payments, it says, include those from patrons at Trump hotels and golf courses, loans for his office buildings from certain banks controlled by foreign governments, and leases with tenants like the Abu Dhabi Tourism Office, a government enterprise. Quote, the framers of the Constitution were students of history, said Deepak Gupta, one of the lawyers behind the suit, and they understood that one way a republic could fail is if foreign powers could corrupt our elected leaders. So the guys that created the Constitution a couple hundred years back kind of were seeing this play out. The president's son, Eric Trump, who is an executive vice president of the Trump Organization, said the company has taken more steps than required by law to avoid legal exposure, such as agreeing to donate any profits collected at Trump-owned hotels that come from foreign government guests to the United States Treasury. Wow, we should trust the Trumps. This is purely harassment for political gain, and frankly, I find it very, very sad. Oh, he sounds like his dad. Was that in a tweet? He said in an interview on Sunday. The president's lawyers have argued that the constitutional provision does not apply to fair market payments, such as a standard hotel room bill, and is intended only to prevent federal officials from accepting a special consideration or gift from a foreign power. Trump's lawyers, they're busy. No one would have thought when the Constitution was written that paying your hotel bill was an emollient, said one of the lawyers, Sherry A. Dillon, a partner at Morgan Lewis, said at a news conference this month. So that's, I think, maybe the law firm Morgan Lewis is defending Trump. The legal team filing the lawsuit includes Lawrence H. Tribe, a Harvard constitutional scholar. Sounds like a liberal elitist brainiac nerd, Norman L. Eisen, an Obama administration ethics lawyer, and Erwin Chemerinsky, the dean of law school at the University of California, Irvine. Among the others are Richard W. Painter, an ethics counsel in the administration of George W. Bush. Mr. Gupta, a Supreme Court litigator, who has 3 cases pending before the court, and Zephyr Teachout, a Fordham University law professor and former congressional candidate who has been studying and writing about the Emollients Clause for nearly a decade. Ms. Teachout said that one place of potential concern was a nation like China, which rents space at Trump Tower in New York and is a major lender to an office building in New York that Mr. Trump controls in part. God. It's also China controls owns, I don't know, 60 or 70% of our debt, so that won't get weird. Foreign governments, Ms. Teachout and other ethics experts warn, could rent out rooms in Trump hotels as a way to send a message to the Trump family. Quote, if you think other countries are not going to try to leverage relationships with Trump's companies to influence trade or military policy, that is naive, she said. Because, I mean, China has never manipulated anything. They've never manipulated the stock market or anything like that. They don't manipulate their own currency. They're not going to do anything like that. They didn't just go to an island in the South China Sea and create it and turn it into a Navy base. Why would they want to do anything like that? And if they're aware of our Constitution, I wonder if they're going to try to, make Trump commit some sort of violation that they can then hold over his head. It's not like Putin's got anything holding over his head. Oh boy. But Andy Gruall, a University of Iowa Law School professor, argued in an academic paper published last week that a payment to a hotel owned by the Trump family, like the Trump International Hotel in Washington, would not violate the Emollients Clause because the money is paid to a corporate entity and not to Mr. Trump directly. There's no connection between the payments and performance of services by the president personally. Wow, that is the most naive thing I've ever heard in my life. This is all about money. Trump's whole thing is about money. America is all about money. Slavery was all about money. Everything is all about money. Oh boy. Mr. Eisen said the legal team intended to use the lawsuit to try to get a copy of Mr. Trump's federal tax returns, which are needed to properly assess what income or other payments or loans Mr. Trump has received from foreign governments. The plaintiff in the lawsuit is a liberal group known as Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, which until recently was controlled by David Brock, a Democratic Party operative and fervent supporter of Hillary Clinton's campaign. Well, that's who I'd want to get to go after Trump, some crooked Clinton supporter. They don't play nice. That's what the Clintons are going to do. They're not going to go away quietly. They're just going to do this kind of business. I don't know. It's a little scary, but maybe not. The lawsuit may run into trouble, other legal experts said, given that crew, as the organization is known, must demonstrate that it would suffer direct and concrete injury to give it standing to sue. The group says it has suffered harm by having to divert resources from other work to monitor and respond to Mr. Trump's activities. For example, the group said it has answered hundreds of questions from news organizations. In a 1982 decision, the Supreme Court ruled that a civil rights organization had standing to sue because its use of black testers to see whether landlords and home sellers were abiding by federal law had hurt its ability to conduct other activities. But in recent decades, and outside the context of civil rights violations, the court has often been skeptical of board assertions of standing. Plus, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because now the ACLU is going to file a suit as well about memos. ACLU is going to go into Trump's financial and ethical conflicts. They're also anything that he tries to do with immigration. The ACLU has said they're going to file lawsuits. So this is what it's going to be like, guys. It's going to, well, he was the most, has the most lawsuits against him of, I believe, any presidential candidate and now president that we've ever had in America. And this is what it's going to take, because they are drunk with power. They are now writing all kinds of laws. And I'm not someone that's like, yeah, sue, sue, sue. I don't like that in general. I think that's kind of a problem with America. But this might be one of the only ways to combat what the Trump agenda is going to be. And the fact that he has so egregiously just made his cabinet full of business people. There's never been a Secretary of State that was a former CEO, to my knowledge. They've all been politicians. This is unbelievable. So keep paying close attention, you guys. I know I am. And, vote with your dollars. Thanks for liking it. Hit the subscribe, and share it out to the world and tell your friends. Everybody, this is all new. I didn't even know about the emollients clause, but the thing I like about doing this show is I am now becoming more informed about how the system works and how Trump and everybody looks pretty corrupt, and how we got to try to hold them accountable. So if you're thinking about donating money to the ACLU, now might be a good time. Thanks for watching. I'm Graham Elwood, Political Vigilante.